This case invoked the subjects of contract law, insolvency law and general agency services. The court in this case affirmed that where one party in a position of power agrees a new contract with another person and puts a clause in the contract stating that all previous debts forward/commissions owed between them are all discharged, this is perfectly valid, an effective use of business leverage, and does not constitute duress, or indeed agrees this discharge in a separate agreement. Pakistan Airlines, a large airline, owed Times Travel, a branch of a travel agent based in Birmingham, commission for flights travel times customers had booked with them. Pakistan Airlines offered Times Travel a new long-term contract for Times Travel using them. However, one of the conditions was that Times Travel discharge the commission Pakistan Airlines owed them on previous flights booked. Times Travel agreed this, but then later looked to dodge the discharge clause. The court held that this was a valid contract term to discharge Pakistan Airlines' previous debt and Times Travel couldn't obtain the commission they sought. The facts of this case were that Pakistan International Airline were a plane airline company. They owned planes and flew them from airports in the UK to airports in Pakistan, and by and large had a monopoly over this market in Pakistan. Times Travel were a travel agent who had a branch of their business in Birmingham specializing in trips to Pakistan. Times Travel arranged holidays for people in the Birmingham area looking to have a holiday in Pakistan. They booked hotels forward/accommodation for people in Pakistan, got them flights to Pakistan, and arranged them transports to and from the airports. Pakistan International Airline Corporation had an agreement with Times Travel to use their planes when organizing holidays for their clients. Pakistan Airlines also stated in this contract that they would pay Times Travel a commission on the price of each flight arranged with them. As this contract played out, Pakistan Airlines never paid Times Travel for all of the commission they owed them for flights. Times Travel was seeking this commission from Pakistan Airlines, and Pakistan Airlines had not got back to them for some time. Pakistan Airlines did get back to Times Travel and they informed Times Travel that they were providing formal notice of contract termination. Pakistan Airlines informed Times Travel that they would continue to use them for the stipulated notice period of several months in the contract before it ended. Times Travel were surprised and disappointed to hear this news from Pakistan Airlines as they had enjoyed a very successful commercial relationship together. Times Travel's Birmingham branch were largely dependent on Pakistan Airlines to keep this Pakistan Holidays branch of their business open, mainly because Pakistan Airline had a monopoly position on flights in and out of Pakistan and Times Travel would not have been able to adjust their business model if they lost this contract. It was a major problem for Times Travel's business when they received notice that their contract with Pakistan Airlines was ending after the notice period. Pakistan Airlines then contacted Times Travel again sometime after this. They informed Times Travel that once their current agreement ended, they were offering Times Travel another similar agreement for using their airline exclusively when booking flights for their clients to Pakistan, which would be a long-term agreement. However, one of the key terms of this contract was that all previous money owed by Pakistan Airlines to Times Travel in the way of commission were all discharged. Times Travel were relieved to get this long-term offering from Pakistan Airlines and accepted this. However, once the new long-term deal had been going for a period of time, Times Travel still felt disgruntled about the unpaid commission on previous flights they had booked, and they informed Pakistan Airlines that they were still looking for the commission they owed them from the previous contract, and they were seeking to make legal arguments to avoid the discharge clause in their contract. Pakistan Airlines refused to pay this and referred Times Travel to determine the new contract, and the matter ended up going to court. This dispute invoked the contract law principle of duress. This means that a person cannot threaten to do something illegal to another person if they do not enter a contract with them. The question was, had Pakistan Airlines actually threatened to do anything illegal to times travel? Or had Pakistan just used business leverage? Some people call using business leverage on someone weaker financially than them as immoral, and other people call it clever. Times travel argued that the principle of duress applied. They argued that Pakistan Airline had threatened not to pay them the money they owed them, and breach a contract law term, unless they entered the new contract. They argued that they were effectively threatened, discharge all the debts we owe you, or we're putting your branch out of business. Times travel argued that this was an illegal threat constituting duress and meant that they were still entitled to the commission. Pakistan Airlines argued that duress did not apply. Pakistan Airlines stated that at no time did they threaten not to pay the commission that they owed times travel, and at no time did they threaten to do anything illegal to times travel, which was the crux of the duress principle. They argued that times travel agreed this because their branch was in financial difficulty, not because of any illegal threats. They argued that this was a valid discharge which times travel agreed. Pakistan Airlines maintained that they had done nothing illegal, had really just used business leverage in contract negotiations, and that duress therefore did not apply. The court upheld the arguments of Pakistan Airlines. The court affirmed that Pakistan Airlines had never threatened not to respect their obligations under contract. The court affirmed that this was merely using leverage in contract negotiations, which people were perfectly entitled to do. The court affirmed that it is entirely possible for people to agree new contracts with people, and have a separate discharge clause in it where all previous monies owed are cancelled. In short, the court affirmed that saying to someone else, if you discharge all my debts, I will offer / enter this contract, is a perfectly legitimate business strategy.